And we back, and we back, and we back, and we back. Hey, what's up, guys? We're back for the Heslop Tech Talk with your host, Joel Heslop, and Joshua Heslop, and
Academy.
Jeremy Heslop. Hey, brothers, how are you doing today? How you feeling?
Wow.
Guys, we've been on a little bit of a hiatus. You know, what was happening there? This is almost 6 months of no Heslop tech talking. We got a little bit of a hiatus. I think I'm gonna blame myself for that one. Probably me. But we are trying to get back on a schedule here, and we're like, you know what? Let's start. I think there was a couple things that happened in the news this week with the techity uppity things. So I think we're gonna figure out what's gonna be happening with that. But you guys want to reintroduce yourself to the friends here? I'm Joel. This is the channel which you are watching right now. Do some tech videos here occasionally. Been streaming on Twitch for a while now as Kung Fu Penguin, and we're jumping right in here with some more tech talks. Hopefully get these back weekly to you. Jeremy, would you like to say a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I'm the older and wiser of the Heslop clan. Emphasis on older. But I am happy to be here. I own my own tech company called Omni Tech Pro, and we like to talk tech. So let's do it.
Yeah. Joshua next.
Hey guys, I'm Joshua 14, otherwise known as Joshua Heslop, and Joshua 14 is my YouTube presence where I test lots of games on Surface products from the Four Squares team, otherwise known as Windows.
I was like, where's he going with this one? You can see the 14 of Joshua 14 behind him to the left there. His sign. Oh, there you go.
Yes, I have a sweet what is it? Nail and string board that my buddy's wife made me. So
but speaking of those Four Square window team, they have the newest product that they have. You've been putting through its paces, checking it out. Josh, what is the Surface Go capable of? And what are your thoughts on it initially here?
So yeah, I haven't actually come out with an actually review. Oh, it's making noise. But this is it. It is a 10-inch Surface device that basically is the successor to the Surface 3. So the Surface 3 was a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier, and that uses like the Intel Atom processor. But this guy has the Pentium Gold, and which is basically just ridiculous. But it's basically like a pared down Core M3 is what it is, with like no L3 cache, but it's 1.6 gigahertz dual core with 4 threads and Intel HD 615 graphics. Oh yeah,
615.
But it is hella light.
Graphics.
It's got a sweet kickstand that goes almost all the way down, and it takes the Surface Pen like a champ. You can do some crazy notes on this thing. It's just been a lot of fun to play around with. I got the 8 gig model, which is more expensive. The base on that is $550, but then of course you have to pay the tax of getting the type cover and the pen, which is like an extra. If you get the bundle, it's only $200, but if you bought it separately, it'd be like $250. So I've been having lots of fun with it, playing lots of games, and very surprising what this little thing can do with just a little tiny fan on the back, just blowing some hot air to keep that thing cool. So
so you said that it can use the old pens too. You don't have to buy a new pen for this, right?
You don't, but you won't get the 4,000 levels of pressure and the tilt functionality. So if you're like an artist, there's lots of artists that have already chimed in on this thing. They've already said, hey, you can create some cool stuff using the Go. But yeah, they had like a jitter problem. They had like a straight line problem that they actually updated in the firmware to fix a lot of that stuff. So a lot of people are happier. But they said that's only like if you're actually drawing very, very slowly. But if you're just taking notes, it's never been a problem for me. I always just, you know, throw this thing out when I'm ever at church, and, you know, I've had no problems writing on it. So
I think this would be this would be awesome for like a college student that's thrown it in their backpack and taking some notes, or hey, some art people if they fixed that firmware. Because if not, then that'd be pretty bad. But
yeah,
I feel like this would be a pretty cool. And you said the base models start at $499. Is that right?
$399 is the base model. And,
oh, okay, that's for the 4 gig.
And yeah, it's an extra 150, 550 for the 8 gig model with 128 gigabyte SSD, which is actually pretty quick.
Well,
but
I would think that if you are just drawing and you are taking notes, you'd be fine with the 4 gig and just doing internets. But you're a silly outlander that likes to like, hey, can this thing run Doom?
Yes.
Can it run Crisis? I mean, Witcher 3?
So the reason why I got the 8 gig is because with modern games, some of the modern games use over 2 gigs of RAM, and the Intel HD 615 uses system RAM partially as the RAM for the GPU. So
no, RAM.
Intel graphics, woo! So yeah, they're like, what GPU? There ain't nothing in here.
Nothing.
So yeah, that's why I opted for the 8 gig. But you know, for Minecraft, for Roblox, for little Windows Store games like that, you're gonna have no problems.
I think it'd be fun for, like you said, like if you had a family that was, you know, going to church or a friend's house and they wanted to chuck their tablet to their kid to play Minecraft for an hour while they were with friends, or stuff like that. I think, you know, that'd be super nice. And you said it's 10-inch tablet. It's so it's pretty tiny. And you said a lot of the old Surface 3 cases and things work for it, right?
No, actually, what you need to do.
Not cases, I mean like sleeves. Sorry,
that you can like the Surface RT and the Surface 2 Pro 2. I think those like that had 10-inch. But what I did was I bought a iPad Pro 10.5-inch sleeve, which it's very nice. I got it for like $12 on Amazon. But this is a Nidu. So it has a nice pocket that's like vertical that has a couple of different pockets inside, but it opens horizontal and it has a nice soft touch inside. But yeah, there's lots of options now that the device has been out for like a month. So yeah, I'm definitely digging it. But I did throw out my Surface Pro 2017 to test out Battlefield 5 beta, which people were bugging me about. They're like, oh, we got to know how it works, and around 20 FPS, but it was not liking the it was not liking it. It crashed a bunch on me. I had to play with the settings a lot to get this thing to even play, which the Surface Go surprisingly didn't have that problem for some reason. So I'm thinking because of Turbo Boost. There's a turbo boost on the Surface Pro models, and it was trying to take advantage of the CPU more, whereas the Surface Go was like, hey, we don't have any Surface turbo boost. It's
no boosting around here.
It's 1.6 gigahertz locked. So, well, I mean, it can go underneath that to save power, but that's the highest it can go. So, yeah, surprisingly, Battlefield 5 beta, but yeah, it was only getting like 10 FPS on the Surface Go.
Nice, nice. You gonna try Black Ops 4 when that's out?
I actually have a beta invite. I'm not sure if it's for PC. I need to check my emails and try that thing out. So we'll see. It's only
PS4, and then it'll be I think it's the 15th is when 15th or 17th, I think, is when PC Black Ops 4 beta comes out. So
right.
That's when I'll be trying it.
There we go.
Worth some monies. But yeah, so jumping right into things here, we you guys know that I've done a lot of videos on the V20, and I'm still rocking this old guy here. It's still been going strong now for 2 years. Since then, now we're on the 4th gen of the V series, and you know LG is just so beautiful in changing their naming schemes into the LG V40 Thin Q. And so it's interesting. They kind of did a little quick change on us here. And they're like, you know what? We heard this big company, Google, is going to release their Pixel phone coming up here mid-October. So we'll just do a quick October 3rd, October 4th release dates here. And they gave a little teaser here. It's pretty simple, but all it is this person, and it shows 3 different focal lengths here. So from the renders so far, what we've seen is that it's supposed to be it's supposed to look like this. It has 3 on the back here, 2 on the front with a notch.
Wow.
Womp womp. Well, you know, that's the way of the road, as Tim the Tatman would say. But so rumors anticipate that we're going to get a 12 megapixel 1.5 lens with the micron pixels. That's your like main shooter. Then you get the 16 megapixel 1.9 wide angle, and then there's the 2 times optical zoom with the 12 2.4 here. So that's interesting. They're like, you know, we heard people complain, oh, we don't want the wide angle lens, we want the zoom lens. And then people are like, no, we don't want a zoom lens. We love the wide angle lens. And so I was just like, why not all of them? Put them all in there. So they all have, you know, the micron pixels, but the main shooter is going to be the best on low light, 1.5 aperture with 1.4 micron pixels. And then on the front, they're like, you know what? You like that wide angle lens, so we're going to do an 8 megapixel regular shooter and a 5 megapixel wide angle lens for the front. So it should have the 845 Snapdragon 845 processor. Should have 6 gigs of RAM, triple camera, 64, 128 storage options, 6.4 inch QHD POLED. So we'll see what they're going to do with that. Full vision display. It'll probably have the HDR and all that fun built in, like the G7 did, and aspect ratio of 19.5 by 9. So a little different there. So we'll see kind of what they go with this here. I don't know. I honestly, the V40 wasn't really on my radar as much because I was just so excited for the Pixel 3, but we're kind of seeing some of these things. I'm like, this can be super useful, because there has been a couple times where I'm like, oh man, I wish I did have a little bit of a zoom lens here. That would be really nice. And that's not like the pixelated digital zoom. And they're saying, hey, we can give you a 2 times zoom here, wide angle lens. And all this is still like leaked, but it was from like a Specless leak. So it's probably legit. You know, that's the thing. We're kind of up in the air, but we only have a couple weeks now coming up. And I feel like this could be a big thing. The V series has always been about kind of pushing the line of usability. So the original V10 had 2 cameras on the front, at a wide angle and a regular lens. And people were like, that's pretty neat. I kind of like that. And then, you know, the V20 had the 2 on the back that people really liked having the wide angle lens. And they were like, yeah, that's nice. I like that. And so they're kind of trying things with the top of the LCD higher on having the top notch. And then now the new one doesn't have the secondary display on the top, but it's a huge 6.4 inch screen. So we'll see. I don't know. What are you guys feeling when you heard some of these things about the V40? Is that something that you're like, this looks pretty nice? Or you're like, another LG phone?
Is it going to have the quad DAC? That's what I want to know.
Well, I believe so. There's not been, the renders show a headphone jack, but just today, there was a leak that revealed that the OnePlus 6T will not have a headphone jack, and everyone was like, not OnePlus. Because we have all the fanboys that have been like, I don't know if you noticed my 5T and my 6 both still have headphone jacks. What's up, Apple? We have a notch too. We have a notch too now. We have a notch as well. And but if you guys seen
the AT&T Walker has fallen.
Well, you can see my Walker back there. It's actually there. Millie uses it as a scratching post. Like she just scratches her head on the front lasers. I'm like, Millie, do you know those are lasers? Those can destroy you. But she's like, and scratches her head. Have you guys seen the notch on the OnePlus 6T?
That is a small notch.
It looks really good. Like as far as notches go.
Right. What LG should have done was make that same notch because it's in the shape of a V, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I like the everything phone or the
essential phone.
essential phone. Yeah. Just a little notch down there.
I'll show it real quick.
It makes sense. I mean, really, the notches that are out there, they're larger than they really need to be. I mean, they're just spreading out the sensors just because they can.
Well, the new iPhones, we'll talk about this in a minute, have an extra camera sensor in there for depth sensing, but that's different. But here's the notch idea that is like a little U or V-shaped for just the camera and a little bump on the top in the frame, basically, for the headphone. I mean, for the ear jack. So I'm like, well, that's crazy. And I don't know if that's not, I haven't seen the triple camera renders yet until just now, but yeah, here's the banding in the headphone jack. So it's interesting. That's something that OnePlus owners have been kind of pulling over top of people for a bit, and yeah.
Oh, but those new Bullet USB-C
wireless
headphones are going to be so sweet.
Well, the wireless
USB-C.
They have USB-C ones, and they also have wireless ones that they're going to have too. But yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
So speaking of no audio jacks, supposedly the new iPhones won't be having the Lightning to audio adapter in the box anymore.
Oh, not in the box. Yeah.
So you're gonna there you go, Josh.
Dongle all the things, y'all.
Dongle life. Here we are going with the dongle life. Yeah, someone in the chat said, don't forget about the display fingerprint sensor. That does look dope. The in-display, it'll be like one of the first mainstream. Was it Vivo or I'm trying to remember who did it?
I think it's Vivo, yeah.
About 2 months ago, about a month ago, they did one, but it wasn't really widely released. Thanks for letting us know. Yeah, I saw that in the thing. I forgot to mention it. But yeah, it's supposed to have a in-display fingerprint sensor, which if that becomes mainstream, that'd be dope. That would be actually really nice. But for me, I actually really like it on the back, especially the bigger the screen. It's harder to kind of fumble like and go down there and hit it. So I really like having it on the top, but that's just me. But yeah.
Well, of course, I'm still with the LG G6, rocking that old tech, but I got it for 170, so I can't complain. But right. the second that I upgraded this thing to Oreo, it turned it into the LG G6 ThinQ. I'm like, what? So they're stuck on that name, man. But hey,
wait, did it literally listed as the LG G6 ThinQ?
The second that I upgraded it to Oreo, like when I was on 7.1, when I booted it up, it said LG G6. And then when I went to Oreo, it said LG G6 ThinQ. And I was like,
what? I didn't even realize they did that internally backwards.
Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah. They're like,
oh, LG, you dummies.
Across the board, bros.
That like hurts my heart a little bit.
Right.
LG V40 ThinQ. Try the back of the phone fingerprint with the Note 8. Yeah, the Note 8 where it's like awkwardly up on this side. Oh, hey, Billy Frick, how's it going? Is Jeremy just a wall picture? Jeremy's not moving much. He's just focused in here. He's sitting still.
I'm searching on stuff, just when you guys are talking. I'm
multitasking.
Yeah.
He's multitasking. Josh, you need to get Sennheiser headphones so that we can all be part of the Sennheiser crew.
I need the RGB in my life, bro. I was this close to pulling the trigger on those mass drop ones, Jeremy, but I was like, I've got it. I've got the ATH M50s. I've got headphones for days, and I just can't do it right now. But I'm going to be snaking some eBay because I'll buy used. No problem.
Vortex said my window AC unit has thin Q.
Nice.
So Jeremy, I feel like being our Apple resident expert of the brothers here, there wasn't anything that happened this week. Like, what? Was there?
Not really.
Maybe a little bit. One more thing.
One more thing.
Five more things?
Exactly. There's a lot of things. So the Apple distortion engine, as it used to be called, the Steve Jobs distortion vortex, started up this yesterday and actually Tuesday, and brought a couple things into play. We have iPhones and watches and adapters and all kinds of things that they have going on. So the new iPhone XS, the new iPhone XS Max, and the new iPhone XR for a really crappy appliance. No, but we have the three new phones, as pretty much everybody had predicted, and we'll just go over a couple of the differences between the three real quick.
iPhone expensive.
So does that mean I can buy the XR for a tenner? Or
just drop a tenner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome to the big screens. We got a couple, interesting things at the same, but pre-order on tomorrow and available in a week on the XS, and the XR is in October, I believe.
Yeah.
October 19, and then available on the 26th. So, we got all three phones. The XS has a couple spec bumps, nothing too crazy. Basically, the same, a little bit better dual cameras in the back. We got 12 megapixels. The A12 chip with the a little bit new display. Apparently more pixels now than it was before. It is IP68 now, so it's water resistant up to 2 meters for 30 minutes, whereas the XR is only 67. Got the OLED versus the liquid retina, which is basically just the LCD screen.
LCD, yeah.
That bothers me. Look at that 800p display.
Yeah.
On a 6.1 inch screen. That's just
so the pixels per inch is what?
458. 458. On the Super Retina. 326 on the LCD. Yeah.
But that's on par with on the 8. That's close with the 8, but still a 6-inch display with not 1080p. That's rough.
Yeah, so the 8P versus the XS Max, it's about the same footprint, but the screen size is definitely about the same. But.
I was saying pixels per inch on the 8, the original 8, not the 8 plus.
Yeah.
But the pixels per inch with the resolution is about the same on the XR, the XR, and the original 8.
Yeah, we can compare this here.
And the XR is the aluminum instead of the surgical steel you can fight someone with.
What?
Same PPI, just more pixels.
Why would anybody buy the XR for $750 when they can buy a used original 10 for $700?
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's crazy right now.
But Josh, did you see that there are 6 new brilliant colors? You can get coral. Coral. Coral by the XR. Coral.
I mean,
actually, you can buy an iPhone 10 right now for AT&T for $604 on swappa.com. That's insane.
So here's the main reason is for people that have bad eyes. So for the 10, which I have, the pixel ratio and the way it squeezes the pixels into a smaller form factor, it's hard. It's hard to see. I mean, they really pack the pixels in there. So I mean, the 6.1 inch, you're getting a little bit bigger. So screen size is, it's not that much bigger, but you get in a little bit more real estate so that it's, let's put them side by side here. So, you get a little bit more real estate, screen real estate. And for the people that already zoom in their phones and they want the, they want the bigger screen like an 8+ screen, but they don't want to go to the max. I think it's going to fit for those people.
The max, bro.
The max, bro.
To the max.
I see that. I like how they kept saying edge to edge display, and they're like, those are pretty big bezels on the 10R.
Yeah, the 10R, they can only bend the LCD so far, so they have to.
Yeah, they can't melt it over like the other one.
Yeah, like the OLED, they basically just bend it however they want. It just goes.
Everybody loves the gold. The gold is like, I've seen some people that were like, yeah, I'm gonna buy the max, and mostly because I just want the gold one.
Yeah, the gold has some. It's interesting. So I mean, all the phones are Animoji and get the Memoji now. You have 3D touch in the two 10Ss in gigabit class LTE, whereas the XR is just I guess it's the higher LTE, but not the full. The one nice thing is that you get 512 gigs now, which is kind of stupid big, but
$1,500 worth. Yep.
Yeah, 1,600 if you go with the Apple Care.
Has the 10 been tapped awake? Because I just saw them advertising tapped awake, and I was like, is that on the 10? I thought it was.
Yep. It's just they haven't had that on the LCD models. They've only had that on the OLED.
That's okay. I saw them advertising
so
it for the 10R. And I was like,
for the XR or the 10R, and because of that, they wanted to let people know that that's a separate feature than the 8.
I do feel bad for Snapdragon because they've got nothing on the A12 chip. Like the in-house chips that Apple's been making the last 5 years are still crushing it. The amount that they can optimize those things for the RAM and systems that they use, it's still crazy. Like poor, Qualcomm's trying their best, but with the fragmentation of Android and all the different hardware and 9 cameras on some phones, like you see the Nokia phone that has like 8 cameras on the back of it. It looks like spider eyes.
Wow.
You see that? Like how do they optimize a chipset to run 8 cameras, like that? And so it's crazy. And yeah, I don't know. But the software can't use the amount of power an A12 can, or can it? I don't know. That's a good question. But
yeah, I mean, they always catch up. So, usually the first iOS that's out on the chips for Apple, they don't push the chip to its fullest. I mean, how many GPUs, CPUs, and neural PUs they have on their they have, they're just the games and stuff aren't taking advantage of them. Even the operating system isn't taking advantage of everything yet. And so it's usually like when they did a couple of the updates for iOS 11 this year, the 10 just got a little bit snappier for me with the A11. So, they get incremental and it gets a little bit better. Then they screw something up and it goes slow again, and then they fix it.
Right. It's a single camera on the back of the 10R as well, instead of a dual camera setup.
Yep.
Something that they kind of brushed over, but it's pretty cool. You get 1080 60 frames on the front facing camera now. And that's new for iPhones. Is 60 frames on the front. Not that like, whoa, but that's something that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And 4K up to 60 on the back shooter on the 10R. I'm not sure about the regular ones.
Yeah, they all have 60 frames, 4K.
So it seems like there's very small hardware changes for the cameras, but they're optimizing depth control that you can change afterwards, the aperture. to change it from F12 or F16 down to the 1.8 that it is. So that's pretty interesting. So if you want to change some depth effect, but it's from what I've been reading, it's still only optimized for people. So if you want to say like, oh, here's my water bottle, I want to change the depth of this, it's just gonna the detection is going to be like, what are you trying to see right now? I don't get it. Like, it's not going to get it as well. So I think I'd like to see more, even in their test photos that they showed on screen, you could still see some of the hair wavy and you still saw some of the back. I'm like, you're using those as test photos you're using those as your presentation photos, then there's going to be, your normal person's going to have some trouble getting really crisp shots. But Apple's working on making this better. They're not, I don't think they're quite there with, as I go blurry. That's funny. I think that Google still has some of the best software out there for edge detection and portrait modes. But so that's why I'm looking forward to what's next with them. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Well, speaking of Pixel and Google, what they're doing, we have right around the corner here, coming up in a couple weeks, we have the Pixel 3 and the Pixel 3 XL. It is the year of the notches because this looks rough. Look at that. Yikes. That top notch is just, that's rough. It looks like two cameras in a front-facing speaker. I totally understand because, they're sticking to the front-facing speakers, which I love. But the regular Pixel 3, it just looks better. Like, it has a decent-sized bezels, but on the top and the bottom. But it just looks better. And this top notch is just it's a big notch there, friends. You can't get around that.
Well, they're putting two full cameras in there, which it looks like those are. They're not the small front facing. So I imagine they're kind of, if that's rendered correctly, they're going to have two full like 12 megapixel cameras in the front,
which would be awesome. So yeah, that seemingly have dual lens front facing cameras in the Pixel 3 XL's case of notch. So it's also on the Pixel 3. You can see here, there's like a sensor on the right and then two cameras there. So, but I love that they're sticking with the front facing speakers. That's awesome. That's awesome. I really hope that's true. But yeah, someone found one in a lift, like it was left behind in a lift car, and so they took a video of it, and we're like, here's the Pixel 3, like, and they're like, oh no. Google's like, what idiot did that? So
what Google person, come on.
Yeah, exactly. So this is coming up, like the second week of October here. I think it's the 12th. Am I correct? I think so. Of October, that's coming out. And so we'll see. The cost is still up in the air. The last year, the 2 was at $649, and whereas the Pixel 2 XL was, the $899 start, I believe. And so we'll see what the pricing will be this year. I think they're going to have to competitively price because this is BGR said the iPhone XR just killed the Pixel 3 and every other 2018 flagship. We were laughing about this before the stream because, like, it's a $750 phone, but like Josh said, you can get the iPhone 10 for $600 used. And I mean, sure, this will be great for some people that wanted a bigger phone but not spend the whole much as the Max, the $1,100 for that. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. I'm looking forward to the Google Pixel. That's what I'm waiting for. I have an upgrade coming October 1st, and I'm saying, okay, let's see what the V40 has and let's see what the Pixel 3 has. And I still really like the Note 8. The Note 9. It's I love that they do have stereo speakers on there, and there's a lot of good stuff there. But I get scared when I think about Samsung's software. Is what I worry about. Is when am I going to get updated to Android 9 when it comes out? Is it going to be 2 years later? Is it going to be whatever? I don't know. It's hard to know. That's the biggest thing I worry about when it comes to
and
Samsung.
the S10 is going to be
right around the corner
here. Yeah, exactly. So buy yourself a S9 Plus and forget about it.
Yeah, that's a potential thing too.
But hey, Apple forgot about the biggest color in the iPhone XR, and that is their green. So
they didn't have a green?
The only green you can get is the iPhone 5C, and I found it for $80 refurbished.
Oh my goodness.
So if you want to save yourself 1,000%, buy that one.
1,000%. That's awesome. Note 9 has Project Treble support. Android 9 is in testing right now. That's good to hear.
Project Treble, isn't that like
Trouble with Tribbles? What? So there's the white, the Project Red, coral, yellow, black, and blue. I always love the iPhone blue colors. They look so good.
That's like a major re-architecture of the way that Android works. So devices officially updated with Project Treble support, Google Pixel, Google Pixel XL, a bunch of Honor phones, OnePlus 5 and 5T. Honestly, not a lot of Samsungs yet, but unofficially, yeah, this article from XDA is not saying.
So Billy Frick just said, so I should move up from the S6 or the 6S Plus to a used 10 is what I'm hearing. That's what I would suggest. Jeremy, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially you're getting the same phone, except you're getting dual used 10. You'll get dual cameras. You won't have. I mean, everything else is pretty much the same. So
the A12 chip instead of the A11 chip,
and you get OLED. You get the OLED display on the 10. The 10R,
better pixel density.
The 3D touch, which is kind of in there. The only thing is that the 10R is just a little bit bigger.
Yeah, Billy, what I would suggest is go next month when it comes out, the 10R comes out. I would go to an Apple store or your local carrier, hold a 10R, like, oh, how does this feel? Because they're big, they're 6.1 inch screen. Kind of see like, is that what you wanted on in a screen, if that's what you're feeling, and then find a 10 and see if that feels like holding Jeremy's 10. It feels really good. I mean, it feels great for just one hand use real quick, throw it around. But some people did say it's too tiny, which is funny because it's still a sizable screen. But
it is a little smaller than the 8 Plus as far as the screen width. And when people,
overall screen.
Yeah, and when there's people that I showed them like the zoomed in view on the 10 versus the 8 Plus, they like the 8 Plus better. And I know Billy for a fact uses the zoomed in model for the print and stuff. So that's where the 10R, I think, with being the LCD and a little bit less pixels, will give you a little bit bigger view on that for sure.
So Jeremy, can you change the resolution like you can on Android to save power? Like it will downgrade it to 1080p or something like that?
No, it pretty much always runs all the pixels all the time, but it'll scale everything for you.
Does it have an accessibility mode though, like to make the icons larger and the text larger and stuff like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So Billy, there's still stuff for you, Billy.
He said, "Old eyes, good memory."
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, moving right along, Josh, what kind of hype has been rolling with these new Nvidia cards coming out here?
Wow, it's been crazy.
The hype train.
So
has there been full testing at this point?
No.
Or still just the eGPU type testings?
Here's just today at 7:30 from PCWorld.com. Let me throw this up here.
PC World.
Yes.
On up.
The headline is the GeForce RTX 2080 will be faster than the GTX 1080 Ti. Nvidia says.
Oh no!
Woo! Woo! I was worried. I was worried. So
well, this is the non-Ti versus the Ti. So they're saying the 2080 non-Ti will be faster than the 1080 Ti.
Still, it's
Yes.
a generation.
So,
but yeah.
But it's been years. You know, the 1080 Ti has been out for like 2 years, so it's crazy.
Yeah.
So 1 week before launch, and long after pre-orders launched, Nvidia's finally saying it will be faster. So they basically hyped ray tracing and all the 9 ray tracing games that that threw out there, and I'm like, wow, like they should have really put out more numbers like they did with the 1080 and 1080 Ti and tell you, hey, what FPS you can get. But they didn't do that. They just said, hey, these are the games that should be able to hit 4K 60, and it was only a handful. So they gave this fastest gaming GPU plays at 4K 60 FPS, and the 2080, you see, it's just under the 60 FPS line, which is hilarious. The 2080 Ti, but we know because of the benchmarks that the 1080 Ti will hit 4K 60 if you turn off some settings. So that's totally bonkers. And they're only putting the 1080 a little bit over the 980 Ti, which it totally blows out of the water. But, you know, and the 1070 is faster than the 980 Ti. So here's the graphic that they showed. Impossible now, possible. 4K HDR, 60 hertz. GeForce RTX, amazing perf out of the box. So we've got Final Fantasy 15, Hitman, World War II, 93 FPS on World War II, Mass Effect 67. Yeah, all these games, Destiny 266, Battlefield 1 84, and Far Cry 5. But that's not with ray tracing. That's just with HDR. And that's with the 2080. So, and there's a bunch of games that also have deep learning super sampling, DLSS, which is another buzzword. And they've got 25 now games that will support that technology to take advantage of those tensor cores within the Turing GPUs.
I don't know what that is.
So basically, they hit the streets September 20th, so a week from today. The 2080 is $699 for the regular ones, but they're all like $750, $800. The 2080 Ti is $999. So that's taking the place. That's taking the place of like the Titan series. So the 2080 is the new 1080 Ti, and they're not even announcing the 2070. So you know, for people who want to do ray tracing, modeling, and all that kind of stuff, it's going to save them a bucket's load of time if they're already doing those 3D modeling stuff like that. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this all shakes out once a week from today we actually get some real benchmarks of how does it run this game, how does it do Cinebench and all that kind of stuff. So
the 2070 is $599, right?
Let me double check. Yeah,
I just looked it up. It's $599.
That's a sweet spot because that's gonna be faster. That's gonna be faster than a lot of the 1080s.
Yes. So. Yes. So.
And was there a 2060 or no? It was just a 2070, 2080.
No 2060 yet. And they're actually rumors that they're not going to be it's not going to be an RTX card. It's going to be a GTX card. So no ray tracing on the 2060 to save money.
Wow.
Whereas the GTX 1060 was only like a $250 card at launch. But of course, mining had other plans with that card. But the Founders Edition is $599 for the RTX 2070. Yeah. And so they're saying maybe $499 for the regular. So because they got that dual fan design on the RTX Founders, yo. They finally got it. Added an extra fan, blowing it out the water.
Yeah.
I'm like, But
Vortex
hey,
said, "I'm good with my 2013 R9 280X. I don't need no ray tracing in my life."
hey, it's all about what monitor you have. Because honestly, if you're not pushing higher than 1080, 60 FPS, stick with the card you got if you're happy with the performance you get. This is all about 1440p, 4K, HDR, and this new art ray tracing technology. Now, obviously, ray tracing technology shows up on a regular monitor. So, I mean, is there a sweet spot for 1080, 60 with ray tracing? Sure. But are you going to be bottlenecked with your CPU? Is another question.
What about the 144 hertz master race?
Hey, I've got a 100 hertz 1440p monitor that I love. 35-inch ultra wide master race.
Yeah.
Yes, it's huge.
Huge.
So,
well, rounded off the tech talk here, Germs, there was one more thing from Apple that we wanted to talk about. What was the last peripheral accessory from Apple that came out that was announced this week?
Yeah, they actually started their talk out with the new Apple Watch Series 4. And it actually looks really interesting. They have a lot of new health benefits, and I want to see the screen in person because it looks pretty amazing. The way they curved it around the edges and made 35% more of the screen size than the previous generations. So pull this up.
Have you seen on wrist comparisons?
It's only 2 millimeters more than the other one. So I can't imagine that it's that much bigger, but it's actually thinner than it was before. So, you know, my watch was, well, you know, it's less than 1 millimeter in thinness, but it is thinner, one millimeter thinner almost.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, but this, I like the curved. I mean, I just felt like on the old one that I have the Series, I have a Series 2. It's just so much wasted space on that bezel. So just by getting that little bit of curved in there, just like on the phones, they're going to get a little bit more real estate, a couple more pixels, and be able to do a lot of cooler things. And like they're showing here, I mean, you can just add a little bit more touch with rounded buttons and stuff like that can fit in there than in that little square display. So yeah, I think this is the first phone that actually makes sense from Apple. You know, I mean, that makes sense as a watch. Everything else was kind of like just a little mini phone on your wrist, where you know, this is actually, with the tech and stuff that's coming out, actually makes sense. I mean, electrical heart sensor, being able to do like essentially an EKG on your wrist is pretty cool to show you your heart rate going up and down and the pulses and stuff. And then they've made the optical heart sensor a little smaller, and fall detection, and they have the haptic feedback, which is whatever.
Yeah, I see a lot of people like.
Go back to that.
Okay.
Did you just say fall detection?
Yes.
Help! I'm falling and I can't get up.
Is this the new Life Alert?
It's the new Life Alert.
Oh my gosh!
It could be. It could be because
my gosh.
They have apps that you can put on there that if your heart, if like your heart slows or you stop, if it notices you stop breathing or something like that, it'll actually alert somebody.
Well, it has an AFib, so I can tell when there's a heart irregularities.
Did you see the quote from Johnny Ive, Jeremy?
No.
He says, "Every bone in my body tells me this is very significant."
That was his literal. Wow.
Yeah. So they have all the options now come with their ceramic now, instead of just some of them had like a plastic composite on the back. So the bottom is now, everyone comes with ceramic. And yeah, so it's you know, some incremental improvements for sure, other than the screen, you know, improved accelerator, you know, improved gyroscope in air quotes.
Well, I can see a lot of people, like maybe millennials, buying it for a parent or grandparent and saying, hey, this is really good for you. I'm worried about you or something like that. Yeah, Vortex. I see you, my heart rate. But getting it for like a family member and like, hey, this is a health option for you to keep you safe. Obviously, they're gonna have to help them set it up and everything. I was looking, I can't find it. Someone literally had on their wrist, they had the 44mm Series 3 and then the new Series 4, both of them, and stuff like that. And you could see a difference in each of them. And they were actually saying they'd rather get the smaller Series 4 because it's a little bulkier. Instead of the larger Series 4, because the smaller Series 4 looked a little closer to the larger Series 3. That's what they were saying.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, yeah, here's YouTube showing.
I think that might be Series 1, 2, and 3, though.
Oh, yeah, that is, yeah.
I saw that same.
There's the 4. Oh, that's Series 3. Yeah, there's no Series 4 out there yet.
Yeah, they're not there yet. It was on Twitter, and I can't find it. I'm trying to remember who retweeted it. There was so many, a blur of. It's probably like Detroitborg or something like that.
Yeah, somebody that was actually there.
Yeah, well, he didn't post it, but I saw one of the guys that was there retweeted or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, they were saying that they personally might be picking up the smaller Series 4 because it was like a little bulkier than their Series 3, and it still felt really good on their hand.
Well, were they going from the 38mm Series 3, or were they going from the 42mm Series 3?
42 Series 3.
Yeah. So the screen size is essentially the same on those.
Yep. So that's what they did. They said, hey, I had the 42 on the Series 3, but when I tried on the Series 4, I went with the 38 because it felt better to me. And
the new 40, yeah, they don't have.
Oh yeah, new 40. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's like in between size from the last two.
Yeah, the Series 4 went up 2mm on each version, which millimeters is millimeters, squillimeters.
And this person was like a medium-sized dude, but his wrists were just like medium-sized. He's like, yeah, for me, I don't have big hands or big wrists or anything like that. And he was like, I think the 40 would be best for me.
What's the price? What's the price jump on the Series 4?
So it still starts at $399 for the GPS and $499 for the GPS and cell for the aluminum models. And then obviously stainless steel goes up and stuff like that. And if you get the Nike Plus or the Hermes series,
Oh yeah, it's Hermes like that has leather and stuff like that. Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's leather bands, but it's only stainless steel, I think, options on that one. But
so for females' wrist, go with the 40mm. Yeah, I would Vortex. Yeah. I mean, I definitely wouldn't go for the 44 for someone.
Check it out. I mean, some people, it looks better than others, and it's not a big deal. And they come with the two bands. They come with a shorter band and a longer band for each size.
That's nice.
Oh, that's cool.
And 40. So even if you got the 44, I would say just try it on and see what the person's preference is. But
yeah, go to an Apple store. They're really nice about letting you try on a bunch of different bands and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yep. So, I mean, the last thing I would say is it looks like the button's recessed, and that's kind of interesting. So we'll see how that plays out.
Oh yeah, the button does look a little different. Interesting. Well, cool. I like it. Well, do you guys have anything else you'd like to add to the mix before we bid the tech viewers farewell?
Just be safe, everybody who's in the wake of the hurricane. Our prayers and thoughts go out to you. And if you want to see 5 tech tips on how to help your business during a hurricane, check out omnitechpro.com/blog. And there's a couple tips about how to take pictures and where to put your computers and things like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm actually gonna get to that and post the link.
And that comes to our sponsor, Monster. Monster is the best energy drink for your techie goodness.
Okay, Tim the Tatman there.
Ultra blue. And check out more Surface gaming on Joshua 14, YouTube/Joshua 14. For all that.
Yeah, lots of cool videos out there. In the dark.
No doubt.
In the dark.
Yes.
Nice. And then I'll be streaming some live streams, some Fortnites and other fun games over at Kung Fu Penguin, and a lot of the need some ray tracing. Josh is what we're
Hey, don't think we can handle that. Sorry.
not there yet.
Intel
But,
HD.
Get
There's
your
link-
get your RTX with the external GPU there.
Yeah.
Can't do it. No Thunderbolt on the Surface Go. Sorry, guys.
Oops. But down below, there's links for our Discord. You can chat in there with us. There's links to Josh's YouTube, to this YouTube, to Twitch, to Jeremy's website. There'll be a link to the 5 tech tips for preparing for a hurricane, things like that. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here, and we will check you all in the next one. Peace.